Now, the question comes, well, what does this have to do with me? Because many of us know from having to try to diet or to try to resist watching TV too much or whatever it is, or forgive, that it's not easy. But God has created amazing phenomena. And to illustrate that, I will use the example of the Olympic athletes. You've all watched the Olympics, perhaps. These people train 10 hours a day, sometimes, or more. Their whole life is training, getting in good shape. In many ways, they are like the desert fathers who were training to be spiritual. Their asceticism was very similar. They struggled. Even their motto is the same sometimes: no pain, no gain. Now we know, many of us, that we'll never be able to win a sprint or to high vault above, jump over 7 feet or something like that. We know that we are not made to be an Olympic athlete any more than perhaps we could become an ascetic. But you've heard these accounts that say if you walk 20 minutes a day or half an hour a day, it will add 20 years to your life. If you walk 20 minutes a day, it will improve your heart. Haven't you heard that? And I've seen it all over the place. And people testifying that this little bit would make a big difference in your life. And it's true. And so for us, we don't need to think about the Olympics or about being a desert father or mother. We need to just do the next thing. And just as walking for 20 minutes would benefit our life, praying for even 10 minutes a day as a start, if we're not doing that already, would be blessed by God. It would be an act of repentance. And so today I'm saying we must change. We must make that U-turn, which is repentance. But we need to start small. Because sometimes we're intimidated by the awesomeness of what we're trying to accomplish. And I said, don't worry about 6 months down the line, just do the next thing. I live out in the deep woods, and I cut firewood and build fires often to keep warm in the winter. And so I make fires all the time, heat up the stove. And you don't put a big, thick log in the stove and light a match to it. It won't catch. You take newspaper and maybe some twigs, and you get those lit. And then when those get going, you put in a little bit bigger stick. And you keep feeding it something bigger and bigger as the fire gets stronger and stronger, till after a while you can put that big log in, and it will catch and burn all night long. And that's how spiritual practice works. Just as you can light a physical fire, you can light a spiritual fire in your life. And we're called to light that fire. Jesus came to set the world on fire. Fire for God. And we must not be lukewarm Christians, but fiery Christians. And that comes by spiritual practice, by praying, by denying ourselves, by reading the scriptures and taking the whole scriptures and contemplating them and making them effective in our life. And so if you're not praying every day, I'd say, well, spend 5 minutes. Read a psalm. The Psalms are powerful. Learn a psalm. The Lord is my shepherd. Many people know that one. Or the 50th Psalm, have mercy on me, O God, according to thy great mercy. The Orthodox have prayer books, where you can do a canon. My wife and I have done a canon every morning for probably 25 years or more. And so my children know the canons by heart. They were raised with it. They never complain. They know every morning we go down and we do that prayer together. And so that's a part of their life. They were raised in prayer, so they're comfortable in it. And so prayer requires a little bit. And we should practice the same pattern in other things. If we don't give to the needy, well, send $1 to somebody. Somebody standing on the corner with a cardboard, give them 50 cents if $2 is too dear. Do a little bit. And then over time, increase it. And that is repentance. That is leading a life of repentance where you're constantly pushing the envelope to do more for your Lord, to draw nearer to Him. And I guarantee you that your eternity will be more blessed by it. Well, Moses went to his elder after he had been crippled and he was struggling, and he just said, "Elder, I just am so weak and I'm not having the progress I'd hoped for." And the elder said, "Go to the church and confess, and on the Sabbath receive communion, and you will have no more trouble." And so Moses was kind of amazed that he would say such a thing after all this struggle. But he did as he was told, and he received communion. And something in the body and blood of Christ transformed him. The passions fled. He no longer had to battle like he had. He continued to pray, but he wasn't tormented anymore, and the grace of Holy Communion transformed him. And he rejoiced. This was victory. This was joy for him. It was a change. He had been transformed. And it wasn't his strength that had saved him. It was the body and blood of Christ that had changed this terrible sinner into a man of peace. And I can't say enough about the power of communion. For the Orthodox Church, communion is first. It is at the very heart. It is the body and blood of Christ. You know, there are places where they think it's symbolic. In some places they take it very lightly, Christians. But look at this. God was born in Bethlehem. Do you know what Bethlehem means? The house of bread. He was born in a manger. You know what a manger is? It's a plate. In French, manger, manger, means to eat. He was born to be our food. In the temple, the Holy of Holies, which symbolized the spiritual life, there was always the showbread. And then they had the whole event of the manna coming down from heaven. All that was prefiguring Christ. And if that wasn't enough, you know about the Exodus, when they took the blood of the lamb and put it on their doors. Do you know who the lamb was symbolic of? I give you a hint. It says, "Not a bone of his shall be broken. He shall be pure and blameless. He shall be killed outside the camp." I'm talking about the instructions of God about the Paschal lamb. He shall be killed by all the people. That was symbolic of Christ himself. That's what Passover is. And do you know when Jesus was crucified? On the very day when they prepared the Paschal lamb on Passover. Right when they were preparing it, he was being crucified because he is the true lamb. So he came to be our food. Do you think he'd do all of that for a symbol that didn't have any power? There is great power in communion, and it grieves me that very sincere, loving, beautiful people don't know this gift. The gift of Christ that unites us, that heals us, that blesses us. There is power in it to transform us.